just focus on you and I and the good vibes here. I also found my old vision board. How exciting! Happy Sunday. Today I thought I would have a bit of a productive day, get myself ready for the week. Yesterday I uploaded a video where I let you in a little bit about what's been happening in my life. I don't really know why I'm so protective of my personal life. Probably something to do with the fact that, for the last few years I've just been doing a lot of internal work, and that can be really painful and a little bit, messy, complicated, and I just didn't really want to have, those people that kind of like to rain on your parade and just don't like the way that you live your life. I just didn't really want to let those kinds of people in, but I'm feeling so much better this year. I'm feeling like I'm in a really good place, especially since probably about January, and so I think it's time to just forget about those people, not even worry about them, and just focus on you and I and the good vibes here. So I'm really excited. It feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulder now that you know exactly what's happening, and I can now just be a little bit more honest, which means I can tell you what I'm doing today. I am actually going to see my boyfriend this week. I'm leaving in a few days, which means I need to, prepare myself for the week, run some errands. I need to do some clothes washing so that I have clothes to take with me. I want to have a very chill Sunday as well, so that I can just go into the week feeling really, really refreshed. But I also want to feel organized and, make sure I've got everything all in order before I head off. I am actually about to jump up and have a French lesson. I have talked about this before, but since 2020, I have been on off learning French. I get really, really into it for a couple of months, and then I chill for a bit, and then I get really into it again. And the last time I was really into it was back in April and May. I mentioned in my vlog in Montreal that it was just really cool being there because Montreal is a French city, that I was like, oh, I can understand things. So I was like, yay, I'm making some progress. So that felt really good. I'm about to get in and start a new course. So I'm very excited for the first lesson. I am going to jump up and get myself prepared, go and set myself up at the desk, have this French lesson, and then get into the rest of my afternoon. Okay, I am ready to start my first class. I'm gonna join, and it's gonna open into Zoom, and I can participate. I just finished my class, and I'm doing my course through Lingoda, and they are so kindly sponsoring today's video. Lingoda is an online language learning school, and I just had a class over Zoom with a teacher who was helping guide us through the lesson. And all of their teachers are certified native level speaking teachers, and each class will only have a maximum of 5 people. Today it was actually just myself and one other person, so that was really cool. We just took it in turns reading from the lesson and then trying to converse with each other, and having an actual teacher and other people to speak to just makes the whole thing so much easier and way more enjoyable than me trying to do it on my own. So that was really cool. And Lingoda also offers an intensive language learning challenge. It's called the Sprint Challenge. There's 2 types of challenges, both last 60 days. The first one requires you to complete 15 lessons in a month, and the second challenge requires you to complete 30 lessons in a month. And it's a really great way to keep you motivated, hold you accountable. Consistency is key, so it's really important to try and make it an everyday or an every other day habit. And what's really cool is that if you actually complete the sprint, you can get 50% cash back, or you can get credits to put towards other future lessons. So it's kind of an incentive to show up and complete the challenge, which I'm really looking forward to. They also have a little tracker, which is really cute. You can use this to go along with you as you do all of your classes. And it's super convenient because they have classes running 24/7, so you can work at any time of the day that suits your schedule, and it just makes things really, really easy. You can also get 20 euro or 25 USD off your registration fee if you use my code Rachel Lee. I will have a link in the description with some more information. Definitely check that out if you are interested in learning a language, or if you're interested in, picking up a new hobby. I'm really excited that this is something I've been doing for a couple of years now. Please do not make me speak French because je ne parle pas trop bien français. If you're French, you're like, please don't ever speak again. But it's fun and it's interesting, and I just like that I'm very casual with it, and I think having a good challenge like this is something that's gonna be right up my alley. So now that that is done, I'm gonna get on with the rest of my afternoon. I took a bunch of notes, but I did take them really quickly, so I'm thinking that what I'll do, with every lesson is just, you know, scribble everything down and then maybe get a cute notebook and I can rewrite it all out at the end of the day and then use my highlighters to make it really cute. So I think that might be something I'll do. Yeah, I like that idea. I was just about to grab my storage containers out of the cupboard and remembered I had a spare glass screen protector. I don't remember where I bought these from, probably Winners or something of that sorts. I took the screen protector off my phone last week and I just haven't put a new one on it, and I really need to because I don't want it to break. I totally wrecked it. I don't know if you can see, but this corner is now not sticking because I was trying to get this piece out, but I think that piece is just like a bend or a divot or something. So that did not go down well, but thankfully it wasn't a super expensive, actually no, I know where I bought this. I bought this from TJ Maxx when I was in Austin. Look, I'm gonna have to get another one. Not today, maybe another day's job, but at least there's a protector on it so that if I drop my phone, I'm not smashing the actual screen. I'm excited. I have some more storage bins. I picked these up from Canadian Tire the other day. I don't know if I can see the label on them. These ones are 66 liters, so they're much bigger than the other ones. The other ones are only 28 liters. And I bought these because there's just a few extra things I want to organize. So I might take these over this afternoon and do a little bit of that. Haven't done the clothing ones yet. I'll leave that for a couple weeks time, but I kind of want to go and get this one done this afternoon. Welcome to my storage locker. As you can see, these tubs are much bigger than the other ones at the back. I have a really weird, I don't even know what you would call this. It's like, the only word that comes to my mind is package, but it's not a package. It's like a zip up thing that you put things in, and I don't want it to be in this. I want it to be in a box. So that's why I have the boxes, and that's the first thing that I'm gonna try and reorganize. I'm really happy that I pulled apart my little robot vacuum. The big thing that I just pulled apart is the automatic garbage disposal thing for it. And it was just in this weird thing. I was in such a rush when I moved out of my apartment that I just didn't have time to figure out proper storage for it. And now it's all neat in the bottom of this tub. Next thing I'm gonna do is have a look in these two boxes and see what I can put into these two tubs. Just because being that they're actual tubs, they're a little more secure than just these really big flimsy boxes. Like you can already see that that box is, you know, what do you call it, caving in the middle, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna see if I can put all of this into these two things, and then that just means one less thing in here. If you are wondering why I'm organizing my storage locker, it's because I don't have a house. I don't have anything else to organize, and I just want to do something. And I moved out in a bit of a rush back in November, and I just threw things into the last few boxes, and I want to get a little bit more organized. One, because it's fun and it gives me something to do, and two, when I do finally go to move out of here, everything's gonna be so easy to move and it'll be so easy to transition into a new place. That's kind of why I'm doing it. Half for fun, half setting myself up for a smooth moving process in the future, whenever that may be. I just found my whiteboard from last year, and it was all of the video stuff that I had to do before I moved. So I didn't even know I had that. Problem is, I don't think this is gonna fit into one of these boxes. I also found my old vision board. How exciting. This was from the beginning of last year, sort of April, I think. I also found my paint by numbers. These are the first 3 that I did. This was a fall one. This was the very first one I did, which are flowers. And then I have this one too. I honestly thought I took these home to my mum, but I guess I didn't. I wonder if I can do that this time. I feel like this one's been stretched out a little, but that's exciting. I found so much stuff that I totally forgot I even had and that I saved. This cushion is from Freedom from back in Australia years ago. I have my beloved wooden coffee table tray that I love so much. I have a bunch of candles and home decor in here. I know that these coasters are from back in Australia. I have painting stuff. I have some more cushion covers, even a hand towel. I kept a lot of stuff. There's another one of my favorite pillows in there. So I'm hoping that everything in there will be able to neatly fit into this box, and then that, yeah, does mean I get rid of an entire extra storage thing in here. Does it look any better? Like, it looks more organized, right? I still have to deal with all of the artworks and stuff, but I may actually pack those up and take them home to my mom and be like, here, look at all the artworks I did. I'm not sure. I still have the other 3 little containers that are the same size as the ones at the back there, so I might be able to get away with putting some more stuff into those, and then I could free up some space in these tubs, and then those artworks could fit in there as well as that box up the back. But I feel like it looks better and more organized in here. I know that all of those more breakable things are definitely safer in a plastic box than they are in a cardboard box, and it just means when I do have a place, I have plenty of storage already, which is going to be super handy. But yeah, I feel like I made some progress today. This was good. I just got back. I'm not going to let myself even sit down. I'm going to keep the momentum going. I just packed a light load of clothes washing and a dark load, so I'm going to do 2 loads, mostly because I don't have enough money for any more. So I will do the bedding tomorrow. That'll be fine. I can go to the bank and everything, although there is a ATM in the laundromat. But you know what, I'm just gonna do this afternoon, go and get this done as quickly as possible. I hate this task. Can't wait till I have my own space again with an actual washing machine at home, but I just need to get this done. I've been procrastinating on this for days. I almost forgot to explain the outfit change. I call these my garbage clothes. I don't know why I came up with that term the other week, but I essentially just mean the clothes that I don't care about. I'm not taking these with me when I go. They're not my favorite pieces. It's what I wear on laundry day. So I don't know what else to call them, like laundry clothes, laundry day clothes. I've just been, for some reason, calling them garbage clothes. Anyways, let's go. The washing is done, thank God. I hate doing the washing. It is just the most tedious task. It is such an out of the way thing, but I'm done now. So all I get to do in the next couple of days is actually start packing. I'm gonna be really, really lazy tonight. I'm gonna have frozen pizza. I just turned the oven on. I'm gonna unbox this, and I'm going to chill out and watch some Gilmore Girls and paint, which is basically my night routine. That's what I do every single day. I have my pizza, my Coke, my candle, and my Gilmore Girls, and yes, I will eat this entire pizza. Look how good it looks. And no, I'm not gonna feel bad about it. It is definitely a whole pizza kind of day. Good morning. Last night, I totally chilled out. I did my paint by numbers, I watched Gilmore Girls, and this is kind of why I don't like doing the clothes washing, because it just takes so long. It takes so long to get there, to do the loads, everything like that, and get back. And whenever I leave it to the afternoon, the next thing I know, it's well and truly into the evening. It's late, and when I start winding down, there's not much else I can do for the day. So I just sort of chilled out for a bit. I was in bed by 9:30, which was great. Probably fell asleep around 10, and I actually woke up at 5:45 this morning. Very unexpected. It is so miserable today, and it was so dark at 5:45, which was kind of bumming me out a little bit. I was like, no, I'm not ready for dark mornings. There was one thing that I wanted to do yesterday that I didn't really get around to, and that was just I wanted to clean up the kitchen. I've done a bit more cooking lately, so yesterday I cooked a bunch of stuff, and even this morning, and so I just want to clean up the kitchen and have that done to get into the rest of my day and the rest of my week. And then afterwards, I'm gonna come back and answer some questions from my last video and from the little questions I asked you about the other day. Okay, time to answer some questions. I did change my shirt because I had to jump onto a meeting, and I figured it were more appropriate for me to be wearing an actual shirt than my gym leggings. I took some notes about some of the things that you want to know. There are probably a few other things that I haven't answered in today's video, but keep asking questions and I'll keep answering them in my next video. Whatever you want to know, I will try to get to it. So where should I start? You know what? I'm going to answer the question of why do you move so much? And I mentioned in my last video that it really just grinds some people's gears that I move. I don't know why that upsets people, but I like moving. I grew up in a small town. I was there from 0 to 18. And I could not wait to get out and start exploring the world. So much so that for the last 15 years, I have constantly been moving. To me, and I said this in my last video, such big world, so little time. And when you live somewhere, you really get to understand what that place is like. And I just love jumping around. Yeah, sure, I'll settle down one day, but I have my entire life to be in the one spot I have right now and, you know, for the last 15 years to just travel around and see what the world has to offer. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't know half the people that I know now, and I wouldn't have the life that I currently have. And it's just kind of a hobby for me. I know that it's a bit odd, and I'm very fortunate that I've been able to do it. But even when I had a job working in retail, I still moved around a lot because I would just apply for a job in a different city, possibly a transfer, or just, you know, apply for a different position in retail. And then if I got the job, I would move. So this has always just been something that I have enjoyed doing. It's just fun to me and probably the weirdest kind of hobby, really, isn't it? Next question, will you ever introduce us to your boyfriend? Not anytime soon. And the reason for that is just my personal preference. I'm not ready for that. I don't know when or if I will be ready for that. But then the other side of this is it's also not my choice. It's up to him. I'm not going to shove a camera in his face. And I also want him to make that choice knowing what comes with being on the internet. I kind of protect a lot of people in my life from being on the internet, and I probably don't need to. I'm sure that they are capable of understanding and being aware of what comes with being on the internet, but I do. I just feel very protective of the people in my life, and I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you want to do this? So ultimately, yeah, the decision's up to him, and it's just not something that's going to happen anytime soon. The next question wasn't really a question, it was just more of a statement. Someone said that they feel like when I share my major life updates, it's usually because I've been sitting on them for a fair few months, which is true. Usually I sit and I process and I keep everything a little bit of a secret to myself. And they said that they felt like this probably happened all the way back in March and I've just been sitting on it. The answer to that is no, this did not happen in March. This is one of the first times that I am actually coming to you when all of this happened not that long ago. You know, I am still processing it. I like to process first, then share on the internet because it just feels weird. But no, I just mentioned in my last video, so much is happening so fast that I'm just having to kind of close that gap and bring it together. So no, this is all very recent. Next question is back to me. I think this person was asking, how's your health? And the bruises on my arm, which were somewhat noticeable in my last video, right? You can kind of see the dark patches along here. It's not very noticeable on my arm. It's much more noticeable on my stomach and my legs. Not bruises. This pigmentation is called morphea, and it is part of the autoimmune disease I have called scleroderma. I did a whole live video on this last year. But yeah, I have an autoimmune disease. This is scleroderma, and basically the entire right hand side of my body, except for my face, and I feel like maybe right here there's like a little brown patch, but from here down, I have dark patchy pigmentation all the way down my right side of my body. And I'm very thankful it's not an autoimmune disease that really affects me a lot. I mean, sometimes I struggle with fatigue and I get pretty exhausted, but I don't have a lot of the symptoms other than, you know, the pigmentation and the Raynaud's where I get really cold fingers and the circulation's terrible. Sometimes I have indigestion, which is another symptom, but other than that, I'm pretty healthy and everything's great, and I'm very, very thankful for that because scleroderma can be a pretty serious and pretty awful disease, and I'm hoping it never changes, but yeah, not bruises, just pigmentation. So if you ever see me and it looks like I'm covered in bruises, I assure you, they are not bruises, it's just pigmentation. Next up, how do you feel these days? I think I had a couple of questions like this, just asking me how I'm feeling. And I think 2023 has been such a nice year for me. I think going into this year, I decided it was time to stop trying to control everything. I am a bit of a control freak. I would try and force my life in a certain direction. And this year, especially not having my own space and I was leaving my travel plans totally wide open, it gave me that opportunity to release control and just sort of go with the flow. And now well, it's 8th month. I would say since probably March when I left to go to Japan and everything, and probably my time in Austin. My time in Austin was the best thing I think I've ever done. I spent 5-6 weeks completely alone, completely isolated. It was the best thing I've ever done. I just feel like I float through life now. It's really weird. I just think things keep happening to me, and that comes back to that whole like things happen when you least expect it. I honestly just stopped. Not that I stopped trying, because I still show up every day and I still do things, but I just stopped trying to force things. And then since doing that, things have just kind of happened in my life. And yeah, now I'm on this new path, and it's odd because I feel like I'm just floating in a direction, and I'm like, I don't know how this happened other than I just released control, and then yeah, things just started happening to me, and it's really weird. But it feels very light and it feels very freeing. At first it was hard because obviously you want to control everything, but now that I'm here, I'm very comfortable with just like letting things go and see what happens. So it's good. It's really nice. Another question or another topic that I had a lot of was how I felt when I was single, being alone, lonely, and I think one was about like an anxious attachment style. I thought I had anxious attachment. Turns out I actually have disorganized, where if someone's emotionally unavailable, I become anxious. If someone is emotionally available, I become avoidant. So not helpful. So I go in and out sometimes, but I'd say in the last few months, particularly in this year, I haven't really felt a lot of that. I haven't felt anxious. I haven't felt avoidant. I feel really secure and comfortable, and I would put that down to just focusing on myself for a really long time. Like, the only way to get comfortable with something, in my opinion, is to just sit through it until it's no longer uncomfortable. So I'm really big on facing whatever makes me uncomfortable and just running headfirst into it. I see it as a bit of a challenge. So this year in particular, I just really was like, you know, I'm just gonna do my own thing. Again, release the whole control of everything, and just, yeah, sitting by myself 5 weeks in Austin, totally isolated, really changed things. I just got really comfortable with what once made me uncomfortable. And I think too, you know, moving into this relationship, particularly around like the anxious and the avoidant, we have a very communicative relationship. It's very deep, very open communication. There's a lot of certainty. I never have to worry about where I stand or what's happening, how he thinks and feels. I share how I think and feel, and that makes everything very easy in that regard. But yeah, dealing with the whole being alone thing, I just spent a lot of time alone, and I did a bunch of activities that I really enjoyed, and it's like a muscle. The more that you work at it, the stronger it gets, and then eventually you're just not uncomfortable anymore. And in terms of being lonely and alone, I can't speak for extroverts because I don't know what that feels like, but as an introvert, I love being alone. But I think I enjoy being alone so much because I do balance it with human interaction. I get to sit here and talk to you, so even though it's like a digital online thing, it's still interactive. I do make sure that I see my friends every week, like even if it's just one friend a week, sometimes it's a group thing, but I do make sure I am being social, even if it's just very casual and just like sitting at my friend's house and doing nothing. And then the other thing I do, which, you know, I really value a sense of community, and I don't have a lot of full-blown conversations with the people that I see regularly, but I'm talking like when I go and get my coffee. You know, they know it's me, we get to say good morning to each other, and they know it's my coffee, and it's just, you know, I do that every day, and that's a bit of human interaction as well. And so just with those little pieces of human interaction, I don't feel so lonely when I'm alone all the time. But yeah, I'm an introvert, so I don't really require a lot of social interaction to feel comfortable. I don't really feel lonely very often. Even before having a boyfriend, I just yeah, just really focused on the activities that I enjoy, and with time, eventually I learned to love it, and now I could, yeah, spend forever alone. Next question is another health question. How have your iron levels been? I actually haven't had my blood tested since February. I think by time I got over my jet lag in Austin, which was a few weeks later, they say that the iron infusion can take a few weeks. Probably second week in Austin, I was fine, and I have been fine since in terms of energy levels. I haven't been exhausted or tired other than when, you know, I'm overworked or something like that, but it's not like a continuous level of deep exhaustion like it was at the end of last year. So I think my iron levels are good. I'm probably gonna go and get a blood test and everything in a few weeks when I go back to Australia, but yeah, as far as I know, it's all good. And the last couple of questions I'm going to cover are the differences between Canada and Australia, or Melbourne and Toronto specifically. Very, very similar. It's enough like Australia and Melbourne that it feels like home, but it's also different, that it's interesting and fun. I would say the major difference is that everything here is so much more expensive. I feel so bad for people living here. It is horrifying how expensive it is. One of the things that is a significant difference is phone plans. Here it's outrageous. In Australia you can get prepaid very, very cheap. Like you can get a prepaid SIM, put like $5 on it if you wanted to. Here you can't do that, or at least not from what I've been able to see. It's still like a minimum of $50 a month, and it's like a really weird prepaid system. Groceries are crazy. Chicken here is double the price per kilo of what it is in Melbourne, and then you also have to take into account of the exchange rate. Rent here, I'm quite sure I would spend $1,000 more per month to rent in an apartment in Toronto than I would in Melbourne. Like, groceries and food are still quite expensive in both countries. It's just basic things like paper towel, toilet paper, garbage bags, all of that homey stuff, significantly more expensive here. They do have like home brands and stuff, but it's still not as cheap as what it is in Australia. I did notice back at the beginning of the year when I went back at the increase in prices of groceries in Melbourne, but I still think it's more expensive here than it is back home. Clothing here is much more expensive. We have a lot of really affordable clothing brand options in Australia compared to here. Like, there's a couple, Dynamite, Garage, like they're really great, but I still think Australia has much better options for that. That's the only thing that comes to my mind when someone asks me what's the difference, and I'm like, the cost of living. That's the one thing. So I guess it's a toss up, right? Like, you could go and live out in the country in the middle of nowhere and it would be so cheap, but is that the lifestyle that you want? So I guess that's what it comes down to anywhere in the world. So yeah, those are my few questions. I hope that's answered a little bit for you. As I said, if you have any more questions, leave them down below and I'll just keep answering questions in all of my upcoming videos. But I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you next time.